guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have the tutorial for this look. I actually did this look on Snapchat. I think it was last week when I was going to an Urban Decay event, and I got tons of requests to film an actual get ready with me / tutorial. So that's what we're doing today. It's pretty much an olive green smoky eye. I am so obsessed with this shadow. I don't even think obsessed is the word. This is the Stila Magnificent Metals foil finish eyeshadow in vintage black gold. I used my finger. I didn't even have to use a brush for the lid color, and it just comes out so nice and it looks so complicated. Pretty dramatic on the eyes and then really simple and girly on the lips and on the face. So I really like this like romantic vibes that like the light pink lip and the olive green rustic gold eye give. I think this makeup look is perfect for these summer nights because it's still sexy and smoky and sultry, but it's still light and airy and fresh because the lips are like a nice glossy cream finish. If you'd like to see how I got this look, then keep on watching. Hi guys, so we are getting started with the brows. I've missed you guys so much. I feel like I haven't been on YouTube. I've been super duper busy with freelancing. It was prom season, so yes, I was super busy. So let's get into this tutorial. I'm doing my brows like always, medium brown from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the brow definer, which I love, and I'm just giving myself a quick definition. I'm not going too crazy on the brows because I'm going to finish them off later. And then I'm going to jump right into priming my eyes, and I'm using the Benefit Air Patrol. I like this because it's not too drying on my eyelids. And then I'm going to clean up my brows. I like doing the cleanup before actually doing my eye makeup because I do use concealer. So I'm using MAC concealer, and I'm using a MAC 212 brush, which I really like because it's flat and it's really precise. And then I blend that out with any blending brush. I'm using the Smith 235. And then I'm going to jump into my crease color. I love Bobbi Brown Toast. It is holy grail for me, and I'm almost done with it. I'm using the MAC 286 brush, which is so good. It's really good for cream products, but I really like it to blend out my eyeshadow. It is a pricey brush. It is dual fiber, and I don't know, it's just been everything to me. I feel like I need to buy tons of these because they're just amazing. And I'm just messily applying this all over my crease just to give myself a good base. And then I'm going to take Fudge from Anastasia Beverly Hills with the same 286, and I'm going to deepen up my crease, give myself a little more definition. And I'm not being too precise with this. I am getting a little messy, and that's because this look is very sultry and smoky, and so you don't want to overblend, but you do want to make sure the colors are diffused. So yeah, just going back and forth, windshield wiper motions. And then this product seriously saves my life every single time. It is the Melt Cosmetics Dark Matter Stack in the shade Blur, and it literally blurs the lines, which I love. Now I'm taking the star of the show, which is the Stila Magnificent Foil Eyeshadow, and this one is in vintage black gold, and I love this. So I used to use it with the mixing medium. Now I prefer just using my finger, and I like to pat and then also just kind of distribute the product. I feel like that's when you get the most glitter, is when you pat and then kind of just move the product along with your finger. Then I'm just quickly applying a little bit of liquid liner, nothing crazy, no wing, and I'm using the Ardency In liner. And this is because I'm going to be applying some pretty big lashes, and I think it's a lot easier to apply lashes onto a liner rather than on bare skin. Now I'm going to tightline, and I'm using NARS Via Veneto liner, super duper black, waterproof, love it. I applied a quick coat of mascara, and then I'm going to just define my crease a little more, and I'm using a precise brush. This one is Major Key for small eyes. It is the Sigma E36. I've talked about it a lot, and I just really love it. It is super precise. It is super thin. It gets right into the socket of my eyes, and I'm using the same Fudge shade, but because I'm using a smaller brush, I get to define the eye more. I'm applying a little bit of Lip Plumper. That one's from Sephora, and then I'm applying my lashes. Now these are Mykonos from Lilly Lashes, and I love them. They are humongous. They're huge, but I love that. I love that super thick, hairy 3D lash. So I'm applying those with my lash applicator. And then I'm going to be priming my face. I'm using the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. You guys know I've been obsessed with this for a while, but recently I've just been using it every single time. I love that it makes my makeup waterproof. And then to fill in my pores, I'm using the Dr.Brandt Pores No More. Again, another must-have for me. It seriously just mattifies and fills in all of my pores. This is the combo that I've been doing. So I apply a couple of drops of the Farsali 24 karat gold Elixir to my beauty blender, which is damp, and then I apply the ELcie Cosmetics foundation, and this one is in the shade Vanilla, and then I apply that to my face as if, you know, just as normal as regular. But the drops seriously give my face so much hydration, and it's just awesome. I love how my foundation looks when I use the drops, and the ELcie foundation has just been really good to me. It's been keeping me pretty matte, but not too matte. Like, it's perfect for all skin tones in my opinion. And then I'm using the Morphe concealer, and this is in the shade Oats, and this is new to Morphe. I really like it. I know a lot of people were having problems with dryness under the eyes, and because it does have a mousse-like texture, you definitely have to make sure that it's hydrated, really hydrated under your eyes before using this. So definitely do not skip out on your eye cream if you're going to be using this concealer, but I really do like it. I love the shade Oats because it's the perfect yellow tone light concealer, and then I'm baking right away. So I'm just applying a really heavy amount of the RCMA No Color Powder. Seriously, I've been using this every single time. I love the RCMA because it is not drying. So I'm using that same damp beauty blender to apply the powder. That's going to make sure that the concealer doesn't crease and it doesn't move, and it gives you a lot of coverage. Speaking of coverage, I wanted to give my face a little bit more coverage, so I'm using the MAC Studio Fix Powder in NC25, and I find that this seriously just takes away any imperfections that were still showing through or still peeking through the foundation and gives me maximum coverage, and I love how flawless it looks. Studio Fix Powder has been my jam. Now I'm using the Bobbi Brown Golden Light Bronzer, and I'm using my ZOeva brush, my Luxe Contour brush, which is Life. You guys know this cuts my cheek just how I like it. And then I'm going to bake right under the contour because I did bring it a little lower than I usually do, and I'm using the Sigma F56 with that RCMA powder just to apply a nice heavy amount underneath the contour. It's really going to cut that cheek. Now I'm bronzing up a little more with the Makeup Forever bronzer in 30M with that same brush. But I felt like I still needed a little more bronzing, so I'm going to bronze up more later. Now I'm continuing my brows. I know you guys hate when I do this, but this is just how I do my makeup. I like to go back and forth and see what is still missing. So I felt like my brows needed a little more, not definition, but just a little more volume. So I'm using brow powder, and I'm using the Anastasia brow powder in medium brown. Now I'm using the Dip Brow pomade to really give my brows that sharp and defined look, and I'm using dark brown, and I'm using a ZOeva wing liner brush. Love this stuff. And the Dip Brow pomade seriously just is everything. I mean, it's waterproof, it doesn't budge, it just gives my brows that like fierce look. And then I'm just cleaning them up a little more. I haven't done my eyebrows in a few weeks, so there's tons of messiness going on, so I like to just really clean them up and make sure that no one sees the hairs. Now I'm dusting away that baking powder with my Real Technique setting brush, which is everything. Spraying my face with Tatcha Luminous Spray before I finish my makeup just because I felt like my skin was getting a little dry, so I needed some hydration. Now I'm bronzing up a little more with MAC Studio Fix Powder in NC45, and the Studio Fix Powder is full coverage, which I love to use as a bronzer. For blush, I'm using Makeup Forever blush. It's a cream blush in 225, and I'm using an angled Morphe brush, which I feel like they discontinued this one. I hope they didn't. Now I'm using MAC Costa Riche, which is my favorite eyeliner. It makes my brown eyes really pop and look lighter, so I love that. And then I'm using the same blur shade from the Melt Cosmetics stack right underneath my eyes with my favorite brush for underneath my eyes, which is the Kat Von D shade Light Brush. Love that it has two sides because I get to really smudge that shade right underneath. So I'm using a little bit of fudge and blur right under my eyes, and then I'm using MAC Nylon in the inner corners of my eye for a nice pop, and also on my brow bone. And I'm using a Cosetti brush. I really, really love this small Cosetti brush because it's super detailed. It is the D230. Now for my brows, I'm using Benefit Gimme Brow. This is the old packaging. I did receive the new brow products, but I haven't played with them. And I'm using a little bit of Urban Decay brow beater in warm brown, warm brunette. And this one has a really nice fine tip, so I feel like it really just gives me that definition. I've really been focusing on my brows and making sure they look flawless. So it is a lot of products on the brows, but because I haven't gotten them done, girl, I need to work on them with tons of products. I'm taking out So Hollywood. I haven't used this in so long, but it's definitely been a favorite of mine recently. This is by Anastasia with the Anastasia highlight brush. And then I'm brightening underneath my eyes with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. Love this stuff. It's different than the translucent. It's very different than the translucent. And I'm applying a little bit of lower lash mascara. I'm using like all of my favorite products here. Wiping away some of that lip product that I had on. And I'm going to be doing a combo that I talked about in my May favorites. I'm using Urban Decay Naked. And then here is Insanity. So they're two Vice lipsticks. And I love this combo together with a smoky eye. It just looks so good, and it's nice and soft, unromantic, and it doesn't look too matte. I love that the eyes have some gloss and then the lips have some gloss. Love it. And then for my hair, I'm applying a little bit of, oh, no, never mind. We're not doing hair yet. Chiseling my cheeks a little more with the Morphe M529 brush. I could have sworn I was going to do my hair. Nope. I'm contouring my nose. That's what we're doing. And I'm using the Luxe new JD Witty nose contour brush with Heroin, like always, from Ilamasqua. Blending that out. And then this, oh my god, this palette you guys need. If it's still in stock, you guys need it. It is the Sleek Cosmetics Highlighting Palette. If I find it, I will link it. It gives you the strongest highlight that you will ever see. Look at that. Look at that right there. It's so good. I like mixing the first two shades and pretty much just glowing all day. Like, it is just so good. I don't know why I wasn't using it before, but it has become a staple for me. It is just so extra and I love it. Some MAC Fix Plus for some hydration. There we go. There's the hair products. Canra straightening serum just on the ends. I did have my hair done, but you know, I like to add a little bit of shine. And that's the entire look. I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. I miss you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah!